Hello and welcome to This Week in Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. This Week in Agriculture is a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. On this week's presentation, we focus on the activities of Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa as he began the week with distribution of flood relief monies in Region 1. And of course, we'll bring you highlights of the presentation ceremony and the presentation exercises that took place there in Region 1. While there, he also commissioned a generating set for that community. We will hear from him on some of the things that he said in his presentation during that commissioning exercise. Some of the other activities over the past week we will be bringing to you on this week's edition of This Week in Agriculture.
Africanized bees are an aggressive species of honeybees. When provoked, they are known to attack humans and animals with deadly consequences. If you see a hive, do not disturb it, as this will result in the bees launching an attack. Loud noise will agitate the bees. If you accidentally discover yourself in close proximity to a hive, do not shout or use noisy machinery. Keep barking dogs away. Do not attempt to dislodge or destroy the bees. Contact a professional or GLDA for help on telephone number 220-6556-27 if the hive is disturbed. Do not hesitate. Run away in a straight line as fast as possible and seek shelter. As you run away, do not flail your arms around or scream loudly. Pull your shirt or jersey up over your ears, nose, and mouth. Shield your eyes with your fingers. Never jump into a trench or other body of water after escaping the bees. Use an ATM card or other similar edged object to scrape any stingers off. Do not attempt to pinch them off with your fingers, as this will just pump more venom into your body. After the stingers are out, wash affected area with soap and water. A message from the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, Ministry of Agriculture. Government has committed to assisting coconut farmers across the country in their efforts at expanding their cultivations. This help will come through the clearing of vegetation and digging of internal drainage and irrigation channels. Farmers can also expect help in the form of technical support through NARI and the Hope Estate. Further, coconut seedling nurseries have been established in various regions as part of a decentralization program for nurseries. Coconut seedlings are now available. These are the 5, 3, and 18-month varieties. Farmers are reminded that the recommended number of trees per acre is 50. Persons interested in purchasing seedlings may make contact with Hope Estate on telephone number 663-2709. Once the booking is made, seedlings can be picked up from a nursery nearest you. A message from the management of Hope Estate, Ministry of Agriculture. This is what a responsible, health-conscious person should be wearing when using agrochemicals on the farm. Wearing the proper protective equipment guards users of pesticides and other harmful chemicals from the cumulative effects of consistent exposure over a period of time. In the short term, exposure can result in skin or eye irritation, rashes, burns, respiratory problems, etc. Long-term results of exposure to harmful chemicals include certain types of cancers, birth defects, etc. Ensure you wear the proper protective equipment when applying pesticides. A message from the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board, Ministry of Agriculture. The end of the year 2021 is fast approaching, and for the Ministry of Agriculture, it has been a year of major challenges. But it was also a year of resurgence and development as government's commitment to the development of the agriculture sector continues to be demonstrated. Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa has been consistent in his message. Agriculture is key to wealth generation, not only for the nation's farmers, but for the country's emergence as a food and nutrition secure nation and worthy of the term the breadbasket of the Caribbean. The goal is being pursued on several fronts. Among them is the provision of the institutional and physical infrastructure to facilitate the advancement of agricultural pursuits in every region of the country. New lands are being opened up in Regions 2, 3, 5, 6, and in Region 10. In mitigating against the growing impact of climate change here, government has been facilitating the development of climate-smart agriculture, the provision of shade house materials at cost, and the technical support to allow farmers to utilize the technology in growing numbers. Crop diversification is also a big agenda item, with farmers being encouraged to pursue the cultivation of high-value crops such as broccoli and cauliflower, ginger and turmeric, black pepper, and more recently, the cultivation of corn and soybean to help bring down the import cost to the local stock feed industry. In this regard, a consortium of local stock feed producers and other stakeholders embarked on a corn and soybean trial in the intermediate savannas of Tacoma. This was in response to a challenge thrown out earlier this year by His Excellency President Dr. Irfan Ali. The consortium has since reported that this first trial cultivation of 110 acres of soybean has been a big success, and preparations are underway for a larger second phase trial later this month. This Tacoma trial has seen the local consortium pouring in some $200,000 into the project. Across the Berbice River in Ibini, the Brazilian investor NF Agriculture is also reporting major success with its cultivation of corn and soybean, but has also revealed that it is also pursuing the cultivation of sorghum, a high-protein crop that is used as feed for cattle and also for poultry. NF Agriculture is pursuing a mixed farm model with corn and soybean, red peas, sorghum, and cattle rearing being the main pursuit. In all of his engagements locally, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa has reiterated government's commitment to the development of the agriculture sector through the provision of the enabling environment and other supporting conditions for the rapid growth of the sector. Speaking to residents at Arataka and Matthews Ridge in Region 1 earlier in the week, Minister Mustafa said that while the flood was a major setback to the development trajectory of the agriculture sector, the flood relief grants was government's way of ensuring that farmers are able to quickly recover and grow, taking advantage of the technical and other help being provided by government through the various agencies of the Ministry of Agriculture. But not only agriculture has been receiving the support of government.
I am proud to say after 1 year, or after little more than a year in office, we have seen a renewed vigor. We have seen a renewed interest in the agriculture sector. Today, although we are an oil and gas producing country, and we are expecting a lot of revenue coming out from this sector, the oil and gas sector, or the oil and gas field. But agriculture will remain one of the most important activities for us. We don't want to be caught like other countries around the world who have neglected their agriculture sector, and when oil and gas, the situation get dire in oil and gas, they have to go back and rebuild that sector. We will use revenue from the oil and gas sector to develop the agriculture sector. Agriculture is very important for us to provide jobs, to create wealth, but more importantly, to create food security. And we have recognized that, and we have been doing that over the last year to ensure that we develop this sector. Now, the government, as the regional chairman had stated just now, that the government has made a number of cash transfer to the people of our country. And he mentioned it, he mentioned the COVID grant, he mentioned Because We Care. And in 2014, I can remember, in 2014, especially the Because We Care program. When we started that program in 2014, many persons, especially the opposition at that time, they were saying that we started the program, and that program is a political program because election was due in 2015. And we will give the students $10,000, and the parents will vote for the PPP Civic. Well, election came in 2015, and the PPP Civic came out of office, or went out of office. And the APNU AFC took over. And what they did, they stopped the program. They said they have money to continue that program. The program at that time was $1.3 billion. And you know what they did? They said they got money to continue to give the school children the $10,000. But they took the $1.3 billion and they put it in dietary supply for government officials. You know what that means? The government, all the government ministries and organizations, agencies, had more money now to buy food for themselves and them agencies. So, in short, they took the children money and they were eating it out in government. We didn't, we restart the program. We didn't borrow any new money, borrow money to start the program. Where we find the money? We found the money. We have cut on this quandamania and corruption. We have reduced excesses in government. And we have used those money now to the benefit of the population. For the benefit of the population. So we restart the cash grant. But we have only restarted it. We increase it. We increase it from $10,000 to $15,000. Right? We increase the school uniform vouchers from $2,000 to $4,000. So every child that who are attending public school this year would have already received $19,000 from the government. And what we did, the president now have increased that and has extended that to the private school now. So all the students in our country, all who attend school, either private or public school, would have received already this year $19,000 from this government. So that will help the parents to defray costs. But we will not stop there. We said when we were campaigning, we said in the campaign, in our manifesto, that over the years, we will continue to increase this cash grant. And in the next 4 years from now, comrades, we will increase it incrementally. And in 2025, every child in this country who attends school will receive $50,000 from the government of Guyana. That's the kind of investment. That's the kind of investment that the government is making. That's the kind of investment that our government, the PPP civic government, is making, investing in the people of our country. And when you invest in the people of your country, you cannot go wrong, because the wealth is being distributed across the country. You know, got the government ministers, them come here with entourage. I came in this morning with a few staff. And we are not staying overnight to build up expense from the government. And the regional chairman will tell you how modest we are when we come out of these trips. As Minister of Agriculture, I never took an advance from the ministry to come out of anywhere, or take any money from the ministry to buy meals. So you could see how, because the president is very strict, and he's concerned that the ministers of government and officials of government must not live big life. We must ensure that we work daily to resolve the situation on the ground and work with the people to improve their lives. That's the motto of our government. You know for a fact, since Dr. Jagan time, since Dr. Jagan was General Secretary, leader of this party, and since 1992 when he became the first president for us, he crafted a slogan that he wants the government that is clean, lean, and mean. What he means there? He means that government ministers must not take taxpayers' money and live an extravagant lifestyle. And you will see in the last government what took place, and how many development they did. So, comrades, today is a very important day. And we have seen already a number of cash transfers that the government had made over the last year. We have the COVID grant, we have the Because We Care grant. Not too long ago, in last 2 months, the president would have announced another $2.6 billion for the vulnerable group, where every old age pensioner will receive 1 month free pension. Every person receiving public assistance will receive $25,000. And those persons that are connected to the national grid, GPL, will receive 1 month free light bill. That's that's another transfer that the government is making. This transfer here, this will amount to $7.6 billion. Almost 60,000 households, or 60,000 persons will receive help from the government in this flood relief package that we are distributing across the country. You might have people who are left out. I spoke, the regional chairman spoke to me yesterday. We are trying to ensure that everyone who suffer losses are given help. You remember, I'm not saying compensation. This is not a compensation because we can't compensate you all for the losses and the trauma you all went through during the flood. This is a help that the government is giving to you to get back to the land as quickly as possible.
At the end of the Region 1 flood relief distribution exercise, some $10 million was dispersed, with each farmer receiving $100,000 each. Region 1 recipients were grateful for the government's assistance in getting back to the land and expressed their confidence in government's vision for the agriculture sector. While in Region 1, the Agriculture Minister commissioned a $15 million generating set for the community of Arataka. This piece of machinery will now mean a more reliable supply of electricity to the community and forms part of government's efforts at modernizing infrastructure in communities across the country. Arataka is located along the left bank of the Barima River and is home to over 500 residents.
I'm happy to be here today with the regional chairman to commission this generator and this new grid in Arataka. This grid is being set up here at a cost of $15 million, and this shows the government commitments in extending development across the country. And this is another way where the government is expending cash and expending funds to ensure that we develop not only around Georgetown and the urban areas, but right across the country. We are here now in Arataka, in Region 1. And in all the regions, when you visit, you will see development taking place right across the country. And this shows where our country is being modernized and where the government is committed to ensure that we expended funds for the benefit and the development of our country and our people. So on behalf of the government, on behalf of our cabinet, I want to cut this ribbon to commission this generator, and I know that for a fact that this will help the people of Arataka to get regular and reliable power supply here. So
the Ministry of Agriculture Tuesday signed 7 contracts totaling $667.7 million for a number of works to be carried out in keeping with the 2021 Capital Works Program, all aimed at improving the development pace for the agriculture sector. Rupan Ramatar Investments of Region Number 2 signed on with the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority for the construction of a pump station at Greenwich Park, Barnwell area on the east bank of Essequibo to the tune of $598.2 million. This is for the construction of 2 100 cubic module pump station units, inclusive of an RC sump, a structural steel pump house, the supply and installation of pump units, as well as all ancillary works. Also, as part of the Rural Agriculture Infrastructure Development RAID project, the ministry signed a contract with Persit Construction for the construction of a processing facility at President's College, totaling $14.9 million. This project aims to provide a facility in which there is an enhanced capability to provide higher volumes and quality of chicken and vegetable products in accordance with international standards. Speaking at the signing ceremony, Agriculture Minister Mustafa said that as the ministry comes down to the end of its project cycle for the year, it is of vital importance that the contractors follow the guidelines set out in the contracts and ensure they deliver the highest quality of work within the specified time frame.
7 contracts, and this is part of our work program. And as I said yesterday when I met with contractors, that we are coming at the end of our work program, and I want to ask contractors to ensure that they follow all the guidelines, all the clauses in the contract, and specifications so that we can have quality work and we can execute the program on time. These contracts that we are signing here this afternoon are multi-year contracts. When I mean multi-year contracts, are contracts that will roll over to next year. And we'll be monitoring the work very closely. And these agencies have to ensure that they deliver these services to the various categories in the agriculture sector. So for the NDIA, they will be we have a construction of a pump station at Greenwich Park, and this will bring our pump stations for this series to four new pumping stations. So you could see the emphasis that we are putting in the drainage system because you know for a fact that earlier this year we have suffered one of the worst floods in the history of our country. So we are ensuring that we put system in place, drainage system, so that we can have 24 hours drainage and complemented with pumps too. Then the new GMC, we have agro-processing equipment, because this year we are constructing 6 new agro-processing facilities across the country. And suppliers have to supply these equipment so that we can ensure that we have these equipment in these facilities so that we can cater for the farmers to add value to their produce. Then GLDA will be constructing a modern arbiter at Land of Canaan, right? Yeah. Land of Canaan. This year, Garden of Eden. This year we'll be constructing access road, bridge, and fence. Next year we'll be constructing the arbiter. That will be a modern one. I believe a pork facility, right? Yeah. Pork, swine right? And one we'll be doing at Rising Sun too, right? For beef. And then GRDB will be constructing a drying floor, asphalt drying floor at Leslie Holden, where we have a new rice processing facility there that we have recently rehabilitated. And also we'll be constructing a processing facility at the President's College on the East Coast. So those are the contracts that will be signed today, and this will take us close to complete our work program for the year. I want to ask contractors that let us cooperate and work together if we encounter any difficulties. Feel free to contact our staff, our technical staff, or our offices, various offices, or my office too, if you encounter any problem and difficulties. Those large contracts, upon signing, the agency will issue a mobilization advance so that you can commence the contract. So with these few words, I want to call on the NDIA, we got the CEO here, to sign the contract for the pump station at Greenwich Park. That contract has been awarded to Mr. Rupan Ramutar at a cost of $597,851,000.
Contracts were also signed for the construction of an asphalted drying floor at Leslie Holden to the tune of $15.3 million, the construction of an access road, bridge, and fence at Garden of Eden to the tune of $22.3 million, the supply and delivery of agro-processing equipment for Region 9 to the tune of $6.5 million, and the procurement of 40 cassava mills for agro-processors in Region 9 of $2.8 million. Finally, Minister Mustafa joined a number of his cabinet colleagues at an event to mark Diwali 2021, hosted at the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center by the Indian High Commissioner to Guyana. Government has committed to assisting coconut farmers across the country in their efforts at expanding their cultivations. This help will come through the clearing of vegetation and digging of internal drainage and irrigation channels. Farmers can also expect help in the form of technical support through NARI and the Hope Estate. Further, coconut seedling nurseries have been established in various regions as part of a decentralization program for nurseries. Coconut seedlings are now available. These are the 5, 3, and 18-month varieties. Farmers are reminded that the recommended number of trees per acre is 50. Persons interested in purchasing seedlings may make contact with Hope Estate on telephone number 663-2709. Once the booking is made, seedlings can be picked up from a nursery nearest you. A message from the management of Hope Estate, Ministry of Agriculture. Africanized bees are an aggressive species of honeybees. When provoked, they are known to attack humans and animals with deadly consequences. If you see a hive, do not disturb it, as this will result in the bees launching an attack. Loud noise will agitate the bees. If you accidentally discover yourself in close proximity to a hive, do not shout or use noisy machinery. Keep barking dogs away. Do not attempt to dislodge or destroy the bees. Contact a professional or GLDA for help on telephone number 220-655627. If the hive is disturbed, do not hesitate. Run away in a straight line as fast as possible and seek shelter. As you run away, do not flail your arms around or scream loudly. Pull your shirt or jersey up over your ears, nose, and mouth. Shield your eyes with your fingers. Never jump into a trench or other body of water after escaping the bees. Use an ATM card or other similar edged object to scrape any stingers off. Do not attempt to pinch them off with your fingers, as this will just pump more venom into your body. After the stingers are out, wash affected area with soap and water. A message from the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, Ministry of Agriculture. This is what a responsible, health-conscious person should be wearing when using agrochemicals on the farm. Wearing the proper protective equipment guards users of pesticides and other harmful chemicals from the cumulative effects of consistent exposure over a period of time. In the short term, exposure can result in skin or eye irritation, rashes, burns, respiratory problems, etc. Long-term results of exposure to harmful chemicals include certain types of cancers, birth defects, etc. Ensure you wear the proper protective equipment when applying pesticides. A message from the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board, Ministry of Agriculture. The Ministry of Agriculture is warning members of the public that it is illegal to dump garbage of any kind near to or into drainage and irrigation waterways across the country. The NDIA, the agency tasked with the maintenance of drainage and irrigation in Guyana, has noted that there is an alarming increase in the incidence of garbage getting into DNI waterways and causing blockages in the first instance. But worse than that, the garbage that includes clothing, rotting carcasses, pieces of wood and metal gets past protective grills of the critical mobile and fixed pumps, resulting in damage to the pumps, which have to be taken out of service for repairs, placing communities at risk, especially during the rainy season. The Ministry of Agriculture notes that when this happens, millions have to be spent on repairs to the pumps and on clearing the canals of debris thrown there by irresponsible citizens. The ministry warns that rangers of the NDIA will be on the lookout for those engaging in this illegal practice. Persons caught will be made to face the full force of the law. A message from the NDIA, Ministry of Agriculture.
Well, that's all the time we have on this week's edition of presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. Join me again next week as we bring to you yet another edition of This Week in Agriculture. Until then, be good to yourselves and to each other.